First, thank you guys. I'm super excited to be here. It's always amazing to have the chance to talk to a group of individuals. And there couldn't be a topic in the world that I love actually more than this topic specifically. And if you, first of all, Chris, that was spectacular. And so if you enjoyed Chris, I would recommend that you actually go and look. There's a TED Talk by a guy named Kevin Slavin. And he talks about the exact same things he talks about algorithm. But where Chris went talking about the impacts that it's having on our business and how much of it is encroaching on our lives, Kevin brought an additional aspect to the table, and he talks about how big of an impact it's having on culture. And he says that the flash crash, what's interesting about it was these algorithms that were caught in an infinite loop that nobody knows what happened that destroyed, trillions of dollars out of the ecosystem. And he says if you look at what's happening with things like Netflix, Netflix is deciding via algorithms what you should watch. And movies have a huge impact on culture. But even more than that, you see algorithms now making its way into script reading. So before, if you had humans who were actually reading scripts who were attached to where the world was, now algorithms are reading scripts and telling movie studios which movies they should actually produce. And when you look at where Google is going right now with your friends and what recommendations, so all of these are having massive impacts on culture. And what he says is if algorithms were able to bring down the stock market and we didn't know it, how do we know what it's actually doing to culture? And what happens if these algorithms get caught in an infinite loop? Will we know if culture has been dramatically transformed as a result of it? So I think it's really, really interesting when you start to think about the sheer impact that they're having on us as a society and as people. And so from a personal perspective, I'm amazed at where we are in kind of our evolution. From a business perspective, I think culture is the key as well. So I can tell you what tools we want to use in those things. Actually, let me ask a question. How many people in here are on the client side? Raise your hand. Yeah, so that's the issue. So my issue is that it's about the culture inside of these big organizations that needs to be transformed so that they are prepared for the future. And so the problem is that I love my agency and vendor partners, some of the brightest folks in the world, but the people who are going to make the decisions to buy the right tools to set organizations up, unfortunately, still live inside of four walls in places like East Hanover, New Jersey, or Parsippany, or if there's any people in here from New Jersey, I apologize, I'm not trying to, Cincinnati, you name said places. And so what we have to do is we have to figure out how does this type of information permeate the cultures of these organizations so that we can actually future-proof organizations and the young marketers of the world, because there are marketers that have just graduated business school that still aren't here, and then there's the problem is these cultures perpetuate around the same thing. So I love that Kraft, which I'm ex-Kraft, now I'm actually Mondelez as a result of our split, which happened in this building